Hey guys, this is Justin. Hello and welcome to another video. So, I was browsing one of my favorite Star Wars subreddits today and saw a really interesting question. By the way, before we get into that, sometimes people ask me, what are the Star Wars Reddits worth reading? I really like the Maw installation, and by the way, I'm sorry because I know it annoys some of them when I give shoutouts and send more people their way. r/Star Wars EU is also good. I like Legends memes, and I'm always on r/Star Wars League. But the question is, Operation Nightfall is about to commence in 10 minutes. You have until then to organize the Jedi Temple's defenses and foil the invasion. What do you do? So in other words, the Jedi get some foreknowledge of Order 66. What can they do? Anyway, I specifically avoided reading the comments to this question because I wanted to give my own answer without being influenced, and this is quite an ordeal the Jedi have found themselves under. And when talking about survival of Order 66, I think the question we have to ask is, what's proved successful in the past? Now, this is somewhat a unique situation because there was really no case where the Jedi truly had an opportunity to organize a last stand against the Republic en masse. Whereas here, they clearly can. And for some, I think there's the pretty obvious inclination to simply lock the temple down and try to survive as long as you can against the ongoing clones. Maybe even survive for an indefinite period. And there's some, I think, convincing elements there. The Jedi would have been numbering in the thousands or at least hundreds at the temple at this point, alongside other security personnel. Basically, I'm going to assume that anyone not a clone is going to side with the Jedi. So there are a lot of bodies to try to hold out against Anakin and the 501st, and you also have the defenses of the temple itself. As far as I'm aware, we don't hear a whole lot about actual offensive weapons for the temple, but you can shut the doors, barricade yourself in, and also begin moving Jedi knowledge off-world, which would be something major. If you've played Star Wars Battlefront, the classic games, you probably remember, I think it's in Battlefront 2, when you play Operation Nightfall, you got to destroy all the Jedi archives. That's a major part of killing the Jedi, not just actually destroying the physical bodies, but destroying the institution. If you can get that knowledge off-world, that's a big part of keeping the Order alive. Jedi working together also have the ability to augment their own power. This is something we actually don't see portrayed as much as you'd expect in the Clone Wars. I talked about this all in a video about a month ago called The Prequel's Wasted Jedi Generals. The augmentation comes not only in the empathic link, which arises almost naturally when Jedi fight together, but also through other honed abilities, including most notably battle meditation. There certainly would have been at least one Jedi Master or Knight in the temple who could have used battle meditation locked away in an even deeper room to make the Jedi's last stand that much more effective. However, I said last stand, and that's kind of the key problem here. When it comes to surviving Operation Nightfall in Order 66, it's more than just facing off against Vader and the 501st, which I do believe the Jedi could have done with a coordinated defense, even with just 10 minutes of time. The problem is, you've got to face off against the Republic or the Transitional Empire as a whole. This is a faction which has Star Destroyers in space around the planet. They can wipe out the temple in a heartbeat if they so choose. Remember, Operation Nightfall, remember the name there, was as much designed to facilitate Anakin's fall to the dark side as it was to actually eliminate the Jedi. I guess Nightfall really does work both ways. Practically, you can just destroy it from orbit with munitions, whatever, especially if you don't care about saving any documents, which it doesn't appear the Sith really did. So while battle meditation, while preparedness, while the empathic link between the Jedi will certainly help them survive for a long time, if the Republic wants the Jedi Order and the actual Jedi Temple destroyed, it's going to happen. Interestingly, Fate of the Jedi actually talks a little bit about the Jedi Temple as a base, and there too we see some of the limitations. The thing is on a massive plateau basically on Coruscant with public spaces all around it. Everything defensively is working against the Jedi, which makes sense. They weren't intending to have to protect the Jedi Temple. Even in the Old Republic cutscenes, that ship just like crashes right through the main door. That being said, I'm not admitting that 10 minutes wouldn't have made a difference. I'm simply saying that fighting back as a whole and making a last stand, never really a great option. What's worked far more successfully for the Jedi is escape and survival. You know, that's what we got with Yoda. That's what we got with Obi-Wan. They go to the Jedi Temple, they muck around, they manage to escape, and after that, they keep the Jedi Order alive, not really through their direct actions, but through the continuation of the philosophy and the training of future students. I think if you have foreknowledge of Operation Nightfall and you're a member of the Jedi Council on Coruscant, your plan is quite simple. First of all, you set up some sort of defense to slow the progress of the assault on the temple. Maybe this is as simple as locking the doors. Maybe you choose some temple guards to stay behind. Maybe even you choose some Jedi and Masters to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. However, as that's happening, every other member of the Jedi Order needs to disappear. Presumably, having been built on Coruscant, the Jedi Temple is filled with elevators and connections and tunnels reaching the rest of the city. If I'm the Jedi in charge, I'm telling everyone to split up, to stay quiet, to get off Coruscant, and basically just to fit in with the rest of the galaxy. Now, yes, I am working with hindsight because I know how effective Order 66 actually was with like 99% of the Jedi knocked out, but I also believe that the Jedi, a faction which has been working alongside the clone army, knows full well what kind of danger they're facing. If we're talking about Star Wars Legends as well, the Jedi also will know that without the institutional support of the government, they are susceptible to being purged if facing an overwhelming force. So dispersal across the galaxy, fitting in, the taking of knowledge from the Jedi Temple, all of that is the modus operandi of the Jedi at this point, and it's not going to be easy. Coruscant as a planet is going to be locked down, but with prep work and the confounding power of the Force, I think Jedi can do it. I mean, if you survive your first encounter with Order 66, at least until the Inquisitories is set up, you've got a decent shot. The question is, how does the Jedi Order move on from this point, having been scattered to the wind just in far greater numbers? I'm not sure. I think they probably facilitate the creation of some sort of rebellion. As I mentioned, they stay in contact with each other. The big thing there is that more Jedi are trained. The Inquisitorius is resisted more fiercely. Hunted Jedi can try to find other allies. Folks within the Senate, the newly found Empire. So really, we've got a quite similar situation to how Order 66 actually played out and the 18 years afterwards. Just there's a lot more Jedi, there's a lot more sort of security nets, and I think there's also a lot more active rebellion against the Empire. Those are all just my theories, though. Maybe the Jedi won't be able to get off planet and I'm completely wrong. The thing about Coruscant is it's an extremely large place. You can go into that Undercity and disappear forever. Let me know your thoughts on all this and more, though, down below.